We all want to get better at things. I mean, not just a little good, but great. Whether it's playing an instrument, coding, or getting better at your job, we look at the top performers and we just wonder, how on earth did they get there? We're usually told it's just about putting in the time. Well, let's pull back the curtain on that, because the real science of expertise tells a completely different and, frankly, a much more interesting story. We've all heard this one, right? The famous 10,000-hour rule. It's the super popular idea that if you just grind away for 10,000 hours, you'll magically become a master. It sounds so simple, so straightforward. You put in the time, you get the expertise. End of story. But here is the massive plot twist. The psychologist Anders Ericsson, the guy whose research this whole rule was based on, he basically spent years telling everyone, hey, you've got my work all wrong. He insisted that the number of hours you clock is almost beside the point. What really matters is the quality and the very specific type of practice you're doing. So let's be honest about what most of us do. We practice, sure, but Ericsson called it naive practice. This is when you just kind of do the thing. You play the 3 songs you already know on the guitar over and over. You shoot hoops from your favorite spot. It's mindless repetition. Yeah, it can be fun, but here's the hard truth. It doesn't actually make you better. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. Naive practice feels good. It's comfortable. It's hanging out in your happy place. Deliberate practice, on the other hand, it's the total opposite. It is specifically designed to push you. It requires laser-focused attention. It's supposed to be mentally draining and, yeah, pretty uncomfortable, because the entire goal is constant, relentless progress. And this graph says it all. Check out those lower lines. That's naive practice. See how they shoot up at first and then just flatline? Performance totally plateaus. Ericsson called that arrested development. But that top arrow, the one that just keeps going up, that, my friends, is deliberate practice. It's the only path that keeps climbing all the way to expert performance. Okay, so how do we actually do this? The great thing is, it's not some fuzzy, abstract idea. Deliberate practice is a very specific framework. It has 4 essential parts. Think of this as the blueprint for building mastery. First, you need a super specific goal. Not just get better at public speaking, but eliminate filler words like and like in the first 2 minutes of my speech. Second, you have to give it your full, undivided attention. Put the phone away, no distractions. Third, you need immediate feedback. You have to know right away if you hit the mark or missed it. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to push yourself just outside of your comfort zone. If it feels easy, you're just spinning your wheels. It's all about finding that sweet spot. Think of it like this. You've got your comfort zone, where everything is easy and you're not growing. Then, way out there is the panic zone, where things are so hard you just get frustrated and give up. Real growth, the magic, it only happens right in the middle, in the learning zone, where a task is just hard enough to stretch you. Now, all this sounds great, right? But why does it work? Like, what's actually happening inside the brain of an expert that's different from the rest of us? Well, this next part is the real secret sauce. This is what truly separates the amateurs from the masters. The answer comes down to something called mental representations. The best way to think about these is like having incredibly detailed blueprints or a super advanced filing system in your head for a particular skill. For any situation they encounter, an expert can pull up this mental model that helps them understand what's happening and what to do next almost instantly. For a beginner, a complex situation just looks like total chaos. Imagine a new medical student looking at a complicated X-ray, or a novice chess player staring at the board. It's just a confusing jumble of random, disconnected pieces. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But an expert looks at that exact same scene and sees something totally different. Their well-developed mental representation instantly organizes all that chaos into a meaningful structure. They see patterns, they see relationships, they see possibilities that are completely invisible to the rest of us. It's like they're seeing the Matrix. And here's where it all connects. This creates an amazing feedback loop. Deliberate practice is what builds these mental representations. But then, as your mental blueprints get better and more detailed, they make your practice even more effective. You start to see your own mistakes more clearly. You can set better goals. It's a virtuous cycle. Each one fuels the other, creating this upward spiral of skill. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Especially if, you don't have a personal grandmaster coach on call. Well, let's take a page from one of history's greatest self-improvers. That's right, Benjamin Franklin. He decided he wanted to become a truly great writer. But he didn't have a tutor, so what did he do? He basically invented his own system of deliberate practice, and it is a textbook example of everything we've been talking about. I mean, just look at how systematic this is. First, he deconstructed great writing. That's setting a specific goal. Then he tried to reconstruct it from memory and compared his version to the original. That's his immediate feedback loop. He noticed his vocabulary was a weak spot, so he designed a specific tough exercise, turning prose into poetry, to fix it. That's pushing outside his comfort zone. Finally, he worked on the big picture structure. It is a perfect, self-contained system of deliberate practice. So what this all boils down to is a really, really empowering idea. We tend to think of genius or incredible talent as something you're just born with. You either have it or you don't. It's something to be discovered. But the science of expertise shows us that's just not true. And this quote from Anders Ericsson himself just nails it. Learning isn't about finding some preset limit on your abilities. It's about developing your potential. It's about building it. Through this kind of focused, structured effort, we can literally change our brains and develop skills we never thought were possible. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. You now have the blueprint. It's not a magic trick, and it's definitely not easy. But the path to getting exceptionally good at something is right here. So the only question left to ask is, what skill are you going to deliberately practice first?